Welcome to Aries season. We will be focusing on our crown chakra in this reading and letting the energy roll through and let the energy take me there. Let us take a pause and take a few deep breaths as we get started. This is where I introduce myself. My name is Kimberly. I go by Kimber. I like to start my readings off with a few deep breaths and some affirmations to start us off. Today's focus will be on shadow, inner shadow work, however you would like to define it. This reading is going to be about shadow work and why it is so essential to acknowledge our shadow in Aries season. Thank you for being here. Welcome. If you are returning, hello. If you are new here, hello. Welcome to Safe Space. Let's start us off with some affirmation. There's already 2 popping out. I know that I cannot change the past. Perhaps this has a lot to do with the past and some things coming to surface. I release the need to know all the answers. Regret, doubt. Wow. Let's pull up another card and then we can just keep concentrating, focusing in on our deep breaths, you guys. I was just thinking how sometimes I feel like we're not even close to slowing down. Okay, take that as it resonates, and I feel a whole lot of that stepping into Aries season. I do believe that Pisces season was more about focusing on what the heart was telling us, how we were expressing ourselves from our heart chakra, expressing ourselves from the heart, feeling out what has been buried in here. Stepping into Aries season, I'm getting a lot of this energy of what we may be wanting to express, what our shadow is wanting to express. I feel a whole lot of this shadow coming out and what our shadow is wanting to speak up about, what our shadow is wanting to express, because perhaps there has been a lot of scarcity. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges and It is not our responsibility to take on other people's scarcity, is what I'm getting here. And I believe this is what we are focusing on in Aries season. Your loyalty to yourself and your loyalty your dedication, your loyalty, your dedication to your path and the path that you have chosen to be in. Okay. Why is it so essential to acknowledge our shadow in Aries season? I feel a whole lot of this myself. Yesterday, I spent the whole day following my body and what my body has been telling me in silence. And I feel a whole lot coming from my past. I know that I cannot change the past. And what this has been telling me is there must have been some things from my past that I might not have acknowledged the way that I was supposed to. And a lot of that is coming up for me in Aries season. what does this mean for me, and what does this mean for us as a collective in Aries season? How we are wired to be is exactly how we should be, how we should speak, how we should express, how we should behave out there. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Your path is what you stay loyal to, and the battles that you choose is what you stay dedicated and loyal to. It has nothing to do with you having to level up in such a way to make other people feel a certain way. Perhaps there has been a lot in what feels a lot like malevolence, envy. Okay. Some things from the past that keeps coming back to you, just like how it has been for me yesterday, just letting my body speak to me. Who you are is who you are. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. Who you have become is exactly what you have chosen to be. Who you have become, who you have shaped to be, the person that you have shaped to be today. You choose to be that. You choose to be that, and you choose to be on this path, becoming the person that you are today, and every challenges and every obstacles that you are facing today. So whatever it may be that is arising in Aries season. Aries is fire element. Some of us may be feeling rage and a lot of it. Some of us may be facing a lot of anger sitting in here. Remember, Pisces season, I said, was about our heart chakra and activating our heart chakra. Pisces season was about having to express from the heart and understanding what is going on in the heart and expressing from the heart. Stepping into Aries season, for a lot of us who has been through a lot of trauma, and for a lot of us who's been through a lot of scarcity. And a lot of what we are trying to erase, right? Going from scarcity to abundance, not staying in scarcity, but changing that and moving forward and being in abundance. We can't all sit in our shadow for way too long. The goal is to get to know our shadow, to acknowledge our shadow, and to move forward, placing ourselves in abundance. What happens when we stay in our shadow for way too long and we completely forget to acknowledge our shadow? Is exactly how we're going to see the world, exactly how we are going to attract the same things, correct? And perhaps a lot of us are wanting to express our shadow. A safe space to do that is also important. When we allow ourselves to express our shadow to a friend who will sit with you and understand, who will sit with you and listen, it is so essential to our body. How much of that is so essential to our body and to our health when we are expressing our shadow to a friend or to a family member, whomever it is, our counsel, our therapist, our counselor, whomever we are expressing our shadow to, how important it is and vital for our body. we start to feel more at ease. We start to feel brighter and lighter. How important it is to acknowledge our shadow in Aries season. It is so essential. The goal is not to project our anger and our rage onto people and start harming other people. No. Excuse me, if that is your goal, if that is what you're intentionally doing, you are in the wrong place. This is a safe space. Okay. I just want to clarify that. Thank you. Aries season is going to be about being in the right place with ourselves, being in the right place with our heart and our mind, and aligning that with our purpose and our mission. This is about our evolution. I'm getting, this is about our evolution at its finest, baby. I am using the Art of War Oracle deck. I would like to see where this is going to take us. When it comes to our shadow and what our shadow is telling us. What does your shadow look like to you? What does your shadow feel like to you? Do you speak to yourself? Do you speak to your shadow? Do you soothe your shadow? I do believe, I'm getting that, I do believe that this is where spite is rooted from. This is exactly where envy is rooted from. Okay. This is also where malice is rooted from. This is also where jealousy is rooted from. This is also where wrath is rooted from. This is also where unwholesome behaviors is rooted from. This is also where fault finders is rooted from. Our shadow is very potent and can very well be very harmful and destructive, not just to other people around us and the places that we are placing ourselves in, but this is so destructive and harmful to ourselves. But let's go back to what I was saying about this is where spite is rooted from. Do you ever notice that when you're around other energies and they just start spewing out spite, right? And then you start to question, where is that coming from and why is it being projected onto me? What did I ever do to you, right? And then you start to feel like you're being bullied. You start to feel like you start to question things. Why is there so much malice and why is there so much spite in society? With no reason whatsoever. Why is there so much envy in society? Why is there so much jealousy in society? It doesn't make sense until we make it sense to ourselves, because it is exactly rooted. And where it is rooted from, it is rooted in our shadow. And when we don't acknowledge our shadow, are we being spiteful? Are we being harmful? Are we being destructive to our people? That is not our goal. And like I said, if you are one to be destructive, and if you are one intentionally trying to be destructive to other people, you are not in the right place. Thank you. Because the focus is today in this reading is shadow. And why is it essential to acknowledge our shadow in Aries season? The word here is acknowledge. There are literally no cards coming out. I've been like shuffling this whole time. You may be seeing, and what I was saying about, we will be focusing on our crown chakra here. And what you may be seeing in this season, stepping into Aries season, what you are seeing, what you are feeling in Aries season, there goes the cards, is the fear. We may be seeing a whole lot of fear. We may be feeling a whole lot of fear lingering. Where does fear come from? Fear is rooted in our shadow. It is different to be carrying our shadow around and acknowledging it and actually making it better and healing from it. When you are one aware and self-aware of your own shadow and you're actually doing something about it and you're healing, are you doing good to your body? Are you doing good to your mind? Are you doing good to your heart? But if you're walking around with your shadow and you ain't doing nothing about it, are you also holding on to a lot of fear? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Nelson Mandela once wrote, "The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Whoever does not acknowledge their own fears stays in envy, doubt, and a lot of fear that comes with the doubt as well is what I'm getting. Regret. Okay. You see where everything is rooted from, right? That's perfect. If you need to do something fearful, remember President Roosevelt's declaration that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. So, in fact, in this case, in Aries season, we are seeing a lot of the fear in people. You may be, if you are one who is like super hyper sensitive person, very empathetic. Okay, you are very empathetic person. I too am very empathetic. And so when you're seeing a whole lot of people's shadow, people's scarcity, you may be one seeing in Aries season a lot of other people's fear. And you cannot help but to stay there, right? You start questioning a lot. We are to face it, right? You are one seeing other people's fear, but you are one also facing your fear. You are one facing your shadow, but you are seeing other people who aren't. That is what is so hurtful and painful to watch, right? Like you are that sensitive soul and is very empathetic towards other people's behaviors and how they are and how they move in the world. It is very triggering to our empaths to be seeing people in their shadow and not doing anything about it. I'm very sensitive to energies who are in their fear. I'm very sensitive to energies who sit in scarcity and they don't do anything about it. It bothers me so much. And let me tell you why. I used to be in my shadow, literally in the pit. Severely depressed. I knew nothing but the shadow. I started with not knowing what my light even means to me. I literally started from nothing. And perhaps this is why I am also very empathetic to my shadow and to other people's shadow, because I believe and I know what that feels like for me. And so I too am seeing other people's shadow. And while people are sitting in their shadow and they're not doing anything about it, sometimes I cannot help but to walk away and just, yo, let me just pray for you. I'm a Scorpio moon. How much I pick up on dark energy. Do I want to pick up on a dark energy? No. I'm wired. I am wired. I am wired this way. I am wired this way, and perhaps this is why I made a YouTube channel to talk about it, because I cannot talk about it out there. So if you are here interested in talking about it as well, hello, welcome. Exactly like that. How that just sounded like. How fast. It's exactly how fast I also pick up on dark energy. I have befriended dark energy. I had fallen in love with dark energy. I slept right next to dark energy. You know what I mean? I became best friends with dark energy. I too was dark energy and only dark energy. But I had always known that there was another side of me and not just dark energy. I do believe that there is a dark and the light in all of us and will forever be in the dark and the light. We cannot just be dark. And we can't also be light. Think of the yin and the yang. We are both. We cannot just stay in the dark. We cannot just be the dark and not acknowledge the dark. And then we cannot just be in the light and then not acknowledge our light. We got to be both. And I suppose in this reading, we got to acknowledge both the dark and the light that we carry inside of us. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. Face it. Share your fear with friends. There is safety in numbers, and if you feel safe, you will feel braver. And this is what I mean by you having to be around people, sharing your shadow with people who you trust, friends and family members that you can express your shadow to and acknowledge that, and them acknowledging that back to you. Do you ever express your shadow to people and they just gaslight you and manipulate you, underestimate you? I'm sorry I have to bring that up, but I'm bringing it up because my Scorpio moon sees and feels that. Also, I want to acknowledge and shout out to our Scorpios. I wish I had incense right now because that would have been perfect, but I don't. Donations will also be acknowledged here. Thank you very much. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay, I'm gonna get this. Okay. Sun Tzu said, on the day they are ordered out to battle, your soldiers may weep, those sitting up, bedewing their garments, and those lying down, letting the tears run down their cheeks. But let them once be brought to bay, and they will display courage. I love that, and I love this deck so much. Screenshot it if you would like to. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Take the long view. For knowledge is an awareness of something before it happens. Such knowledge is very important because it gives us the peace of mind of knowing that the world will not end tomorrow. It is how civilizations went from the horse and carts to the jet airliner in 100 years. For knowledge is how we use the promise of tomorrow to change and continue with what we do today. Heavy emphasis on the word knowledge. Heavy emphasis on the word change and awareness. Okay. Sun Tzu said, "What enables the wise sovereign and the good general to strike and conquer and achieve things beyond the reach of ordinary men is for knowledge." Knowing where we are with our shadow. Now, let's say that we don't acknowledge our shadow and we just stay in our shadow. And not just stay in our shadow, but we just keep feeding our shadow. I'm coming back to a time when I used to work at this ice cream shop, and I used to work with this cancer. He was so adorable. I remember working with him that day, and I had asked the question, what it's leaving me. It'll come back. I'm gonna move on to tarot here. I had asked, is it good to something about like what's so great about the shadow? No, that was not the question. That's not the question. But let's move on to what I was saying about what happens then if we don't acknowledge our shadow. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. And I'm sorry for that brain fart. What happens then if we do not acknowledge our shadow? And in this case, if we do not acknowledge our shadow in Aries season. Okay. I feel like this is vital, and I feel like I have to add, why is it essential to acknowledge our shadow in Aries season? I feel like I need to add that, because what Aries season is bringing to us and what it is having us focus on is what we're seeing, our crown chakra, if you will. Okay. Where we are with our eye, what we are seeing. Okay. And for some of you, you may be saying, well, my eye is not open. I don't have, my third eye is not open. I can't get my third eye to open. Okay, I'm sorry. But perhaps with you, what is it in Aries season are you feeling? And what your shadow is wanting to express, because that too is important. So in this case, if we are not acknowledging our shadow in Aries season, what will be the outcome of this? Okay. Whew. If we are not self-acknowledging, if we are not self-aware of our shadow, what will be the outcome of this? I already have a feeling that it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And a lot of us may feel like we want to speak and express from a place of shadow. And I would like to acknowledge you and encourage you to express your shadow. Some of us, I feel like we may feel shameful for speaking our shadow. I do believe that that is a normal thing for a human being to feel. You are not a robot. Thank you. You are not a robot. I repeat, you are not a robot. You are a human being. You are allowed to feel. You are also allowed to acknowledge and speak and express about whatever you want. And if we feel like we're shameful, if we feel shameful for acknowledging our shadow, that's okay. It is normal, and I am reminded to tell you that it is normal. It is better to acknowledge your shadow than not to acknowledge your shadow at all. And a lot of us is wanting to express our shadow. Imagine you having to express your shadow, how you would feel after that. Where are you? Where will you be? What place will you be in after you express your scarcity, your shadow, whatever it is that's been burying, just sitting there, that you are not encouraging, surrendering, releasing, and a lot of releasing here. It is not good for our system, is what I'm hearing. It is never good for the system to keep fear and to keep envy and malice and jealousy in there, doubt, regret, resentment. Ugh. That gave me like an instant feeling of like, doesn't it make you exhausted? Doesn't that make you feel exhausted? Doesn't that make you feel nasty, uneasy? Doesn't that make you feel like you are not exactly where you are supposed to be with yourself, because that is not who you are? There is so much more to you than your shadow. You are, like what I said, a human being. You are not a robot. I feel it very heavily. I feel also the Seven of Swords is like the worst card, and it just came out and it's facing me right now. My shadow is wanting to speak. And this is exactly what I have been feeling since yesterday. I'm documenting this on a Saturday. Yesterday, I felt like I was in my shadow. And a lot of what my fucking shadow is wanting to speak up about, ooh, I have been, in my past, I have dealt with a lot of narcissist personality. In my past, I had dealt with a lot of envy in the past, and I still may be also dealing with it now with a family member, perhaps my sister. I have been dealing in my past, in my lifetime, a lot of narcissism, vampires, betrayal. These cards that just came out. Betrayal, narcissism. Malice. Envy. And a lot of it has been sitting in my heart, and a lot of it too I have not really spoken about, because who do you speak to about it that you can trust, and who is also going to acknowledge you and encourage you and give you the soothe that you need? Because if you have a strong personality, it is hard to find people you can trust. It is hard to find people you can trust. And while my shadow has been wanting to speak to me about a lot of things, about what I've seen, I am acknowledging them now. And I suppose I have also been acknowledging it for so long. And what I'm so appreciative about and so grateful about is that making this YouTube channel has also helped me also share this with the people who feel the same strongly. Because perhaps while you are the light in your family, in your circle, and all you have been giving is light and love, a lot of the dark energy around you has not given you the rest, has not given you the rest that you need. And a lot of that sits in you for a while, and you're going, how do I heal from this? When you have so much of this dark energy surrounding you while you are only giving light and love to people. My shadow is wanting to speak. My shadow is wanting to speak. I am grateful and thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. Are you only in this energy and have only been in this energy? But what happens then when there are so many dark energies around you wanting to and don't you feel exhausted? Don't you feel exhausted? I'm getting our Aries is earth angels. Our Aries are earth angels. And if you have been in your shadow and you feel like your shadow is wanting to speak up and wanting to express because you've never had a chance to actually express your shadow, do so. And do it to around the people who love you and support you. Do it around the people who not only see your light, okay, but also who truly understand your shadow and still seeing your light. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. Honesty. And perhaps this is what we need to get to the bottom of in Aries season, about our shadow. Placing ourselves in the energy of gratitude and being honest about what people has done to you and the pressure this world has put on you. Because while you are trying to be the light to everybody else, the world just wants to shower you with. And that the very thing that we don't want to be in, the shadow, this world has become the shadow. Where has the light been? Where has the light been? This world has only become the shadow, and we only have seen the shadow. The shadow is wanting to speak. Kim's shadow is wanting to speak. Excuse me. Kim's shadow is wanting to speak. The word The word deception doesn't just mean lying or deceiving people with evil intent. Magicians, secret Santa, presents, or surprise parties use deception good. So deception is not inherently bad or good, but we are exposed to it every day. In politics, advertising, books, and movies. Sun Tzu says you need to be able to understand deception to be skilled in seeing through it. Do not be fooled. Sun Tzu said all warfare is based on deception. When able to attack, we must seem unable. And when using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. And when far away, we must make him believe we are near. Do not be fooled by these entities. My shadow is wanting to speak. I am telling you, there's a lot of it. Perhaps it could also be the coffee that I had. I don't know. But a lot of what my shadow has been wanting to speak about is about the envy, the jealousy that I've experienced in my lifetime, and all of these narcissists and vampires that has been surrounding my energy, that has been taken from me, and my loyalty. Had I not been self-aware of this, I would still be in my shadow. But there is and has always been this voice in the back of my mind telling me that I too am the light, and I need to bring honesty around me and not envy, and not so much of the envy. I'm not rhyming for no reason. I'm not rhyming for no reason. I suppose the truth has to come out. The time that it needs to come out in Aries season is like, please talk about your shadow. Please speak about the shadow. Please speak about what's been in your heart, because I know the shadow is wanting to speak. I know the shadow is wanting to express. And perhaps some of us and a lot of us has had a lot of physical ailments because of it. It is not from you, the pressure that people has put on you. It does not come from you. It comes from this world and this world's condition and how it has been conditioned. My Scorpio moon says, my bad that I am wired to be the way that I am, expressing myself in the way I need to express myself for you and me as a collective, speaking for our generation, forever will be speaking the truth for our generation. Perhaps this is what I am here to do. And while we all may have our own shadow and wanting our shadow to speak and express itself, we too deserve to know our light. We all deserve to know what our light looks like, what our light feels like. We all deserve to know what that's like. Perhaps some of us are just in fear, and so much in fear that we're not allowing ourselves to get to know our light, that we only staying in our shadow. I am here to tell you, and while you are here watching me and you've gone this far watching this, I am here to acknowledge my shadow as much as you have been wanting to acknowledge your shadow. And if you've gone this far in this reading, watching this, I've only really been trying to encourage all of us to acknowledge our shadow so that you don't harm people. But most importantly, harm yourself, and then taking you away from your creativity, your own imagination. Disconnecting yourself from your own intuition. Imagine living a life disconnected from your own intuition. You are not useful, you are not purposeful, you are not strong, you are not capable, you are not possible, and what may feel like you are not possible, remember, staying in our shadow and being in the dark, nothing can thrive there. Nothing is actually thriving. Nothing good is actually thriving there. When we choose to stay in our shadow, we choose to stay in the dark, and we choose to acknowledge the dark. Ugh! Nothing is actually thriving there. The dark feeds off the light. The dark feeds off the light, and it will forever feed off of the light, because the dark cannot thrive on its own, while the light is exuding with so much abundance. While the light is the source of it all, is it thriving every minute, every second? We don't even know, dude. We don't even know how strong the source, the light is. It is forever thriving. And so while the dark is lurking in the bushes, lurking behind the bushes, watching you, fuck, it's like Belle and Beauty and the Beast. You know how she was fucking singing around the motherfucking village and shit with her book? A beacon of light. Here you are, Belle, singing around. All of a sudden you see someone behind the bushes. There's somebody behind the bushes just lurking and being like, I'm gonna fucking ruin her. Watch me fucking rip off that motherfucking hand out of her book, out of her hand. Why would you do that? And because there is evil out there. Strange like always. Belle. Here comes the fucking evil bitch behind the bushes. Who knows? Wanting to kill Belle. For what reason? Just to hate. Just to be envious. Just to be malice. Just to be jealous. For what? Because the dark cannot thrive on its own without the light. And the dark will always, always feed off of the light, because it cannot thrive on its own. But let me tell you this. Every single one of us can thrive. And I do believe that wholeheartedly. So if you are one sitting in your dark right now and you're feeling like there is no hope, there is. Put yourself in the energy of gratitude. Affirm to yourself, I am strong, I am capable, I am possible, I am devoted, I am loyalty, I am everything I thought I couldn't be. I am useful, I am purposeful, I am the bread of my life, I am rooted, I am limitless, I am me. Give yourself a chance to be honest with yourself. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. Honesty. When you are honest with yourself, when you are honest with your action, when you are honest with your behaviors, when you are honest with your words, and choose your words wisely, please. And you speak to yourself clearly. Affirming to yourself with positive affirmations every single day. Practice it. You too can see your own light. I believe it. Like I said, I am telling you, I started with sitting in the dark and befriending my shadow and befriending in the dark, and only really befriending the dark, and have only really known my shadow and have only really known evil. That is not who we are. We are essentially light. This world has brainwashed us and conditioned us to think evil. But you are not evil. They have only controlled us in every way. Control is a very important aspect when we speak of shadow. Because when we stay in our shadow, are we only really controlling everybody around us, but we do not have self-control? When you sit in your shadow for way too long, and we sit in our scarcity for way too long, you do not have self-control. You also do not have self-awareness, therefore not having any self-control. So are you going around town controlling everybody else? Here comes my shadow speaking again. Here comes my shadow wanting to express again. When you sit in your shadow for way too long, you do not have self-control. What you want to do is go around town and steal other people's identity, because you cannot thrive on your own. You are only the dark. And while the dark cannot thrive without the light, you are nothing. If you've gone this far in this video, I appreciate you wholeheartedly. Because how much we get triggered by what other people say about certain things. You know what I mean by that? While some of us only want to hear the light, while some of us only want to hear what is good, I do believe that we too are allowed to hear what our shadow and what the dark has to say. Like I said, we are not just light and we are not just dark. We are both simultaneously working. So when we do not acknowledge our dark, we do not acknowledge our darkness. When we do not acknowledge our shadow, are we doing harm to ourselves and to the people around us? When you are not acknowledging your shadow, you are envy. You are jealousy. You are evil. You are malice. And perhaps nobody wants to be around you because of it. A lot of deception I have experienced in my lifetime. Perhaps if you are the beacon of a motherfucking light, you are going to experience a lot of narcissism in your lifetime. And perhaps a lot of us has experienced a lot of deception and malice and jealousy and envy all around you, dark energies all around you, while you're trying to be Belle with a book in your hand and you're just trying to be. And you can't even be because there's so many dark energies around you just wanting to... I can't just read my book. I can't just be cool without anybody trying to step in. Let me read you what the Seven of Swords, the meaning of the Seven of Swords. Is also the worst card. When somebody talks about you to others, it's called backstabbing. Okay. Sword of truth. The truth hurts. An easy way of remembering what swords are associated with communication, thoughts, and ideas is to think about the phrases sword of truth. Upright key meanings, Seven of Swords, deception, strategy. So you might have had, I don't fucking know, an evil family member, an evil friend who isn't such a friend, plotting shit behind your back, bro. Be planning shit behind your back, all kinds of strategies and shit, trying to fucking, just for no reason whatsoever, because they just be sitting in their shadow and they don't do anything about it. Seven of Swords. Listen to your intuition to help you see what is being taken away from you or hidden from you right under your nose. The Seven of Swords warns of possible deception and lying. Either someone is being dishonest with you or you may be lying to yourself about something. This card can also represent a strategy or a manipulation tactic you're using to get something you want rather than being open and upfront about your needs to acknowledge our shadow, because when we don't acknowledge our shadow, we too are self-deceiving to ourselves. What? There is always an opportunity to reframe the situation with honesty and frank communication, as suggested by the two remaining swords. So ask yourself, what is the Seven of Swords asking you to confront? Okay. Remember what we were asking as I was shuffling the cards. What happens then when we don't acknowledge our shadow, ourself? We become deceiving, not only deceiving to other people, but deceiving to ourselves. And perhaps for a lot of us who has been on this journey to healing and on this journey of being loyal and devoted to your mission, and here comes somebody trying to plan shit behind your back to be a villain, to be evil, you know? What happens then when we don't acknowledge our shadow? I mean, ask yourself if you are one, and I hope that you're not on my channel watching this, trying to find ways to be deceptive to other people. That's not what my channel is about. So you gotta go. You're not welcome here. My channel is to help our collective heal and only heal. So if you are here trying to find ways to be deceptive to other people, you are not welcome here. Thank you. And for the rest of us who have been trying so hard to heal from our scarcity, from our trauma, and you got so many dark energies around you trying to take from you, trying to steal from you, trying to steal your identity and then use it against your will. Again, affirm to yourself, I am strong, I am capable, I am possible, I am devoted, I am loyalty, I am everything I thought I couldn't be. I am useful, I am purposeful, I am the bread of my life, I am rooted, I am limitless, I am me. You are not to be controlled by other people. You are to be controlled by you and you only, in your own terms, in your own conditions, and then being a blessing to other people around you. That is what my channel is about. As I am being blessed and getting these messages for you, am I also being a blessing to you? This is what my channel is about. A blessing to you. Thank you. Because while my Scorpio moon is trying to express itself, please be honest with yourself as you watch this. We are all, I believe, trying to get in a place where we're most comfortable with ourselves and who we are. We're all just trying to root ourselves and get rooted in a place where we are exactly what we are and feeling exactly what we are in the place where we should be with ourselves. I suppose that we are all just trying to get to a place where we feel more comfortable with ourselves and also being a light to everybody around us and staying away from all the deception, staying away from all the lies, the betrayal. It is very exhausting. Who wants to be in that all the time? You also do not want to be in that place and just sitting in your shadow and not doing any inner work. Let me just repeat. the inner work, the inner work. If you're not doing inner work, you will forever stay in your scarcity, in your shadow. And you're gonna feel the exhaustion that comes with that and how exhausted that is. I'm here to remind us to acknowledge our shadows so that we too can see our own light and feel and see what that's like. And live in our light and not so much in our scarcity because that's what we're used to. Just because that's what we're used to, it does not mean allow yourself to stay in the shadow and allow yourself to only stay in the shadow. It's not going to do any of us good. It's not going to do our community any good. It's not going to do our friends and our family any good. So if you are a child who is, and because we are only children, essentially, we're all babies, essentially. If you are one so willing to heal from your scarcity, I encourage you. I want to pull up a comfort card before, oh, Jesus. Meet Nala. Go. I want to pull up a comfort card. This is my comfort deck. This is the Empath's Empowerment deck. I want to pull some cards here before we wrap this up. Thank you guys for being here. You are appreciated. Heavy emphasis on our crown chakra, to be focusing in on our crown chakra in Aries season. I suppose that we are what we see. We are what we hear. We are what we eat. We are who we speak to, right? Our chakra, our crown chakra is going to identify that in Aries season. So just keep that in mind, you guys. I love this. To avoid burnout, don't do too much too fast. Going slower lets you appreciate the miracle of the moment and the richness of your life. I suppose this is also a card for a lot of us who are healing our shadow and doing the inner work. Okay. Slowing down. Watching our pace as we are going through this healing journey that we are in, and also healing the shadow. Focus on your blessings rather than dwelling on adversity. Pause and give thanks for your gifts, such as your sensitivity, intuition, health, friendships, or family. Remember your gifts. Ooh. Last but not least, bottom of the deck. Stop inventing scary stories about the future and stay in the now and affirm your strengths. The here and now is the most wonderful place that you could ever be in healing your shadow. And in fact, in the book, the Power of the Now, I believe that's what it's called. The Power of the Now, in the book, it says, nothing of anything that is not of good cannot thrive in the here and now. Your ego all of a sudden disappears when you are in the here and now, and only really focusing in on what the here and now is telling you, but nothing of the good can thrive in the here and now. No jealousy, no envy, no malice can actually thrive in the here and now. No, that will all of a sudden disappear. Acknowledge your shadow. Release fear. Thank you guys for being here, for your patience, for your endurance. I will see you guys in the next one. May Aries season fill us with so much truth and never being away from it and disconnected from it. I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. I love you and take care. Bye.